So Morgantown, we break it first. WVU pride, we quench your thirst. No spin, all truth, loud and proud. Mountaineer nation, say it loud. The voice of Morgantown. VOM, Mountaineer pride, we go all in. First to the facts, last to the spin. It's the voice of Morgantown. Let's begin.
And we welcome you into the Rush Show presented by the Voice of Morgantown, where I give you West Virginia and Big 12 takes and analysis in 10 minutes or less. So let's start the show. We're about a week out from when things get really serious. Of course, this week is kind of the calm before the storm. We do have action this weekend. Week 0 does kick off. Farmageddon leads off the college football season. So we will see some Big 12 action to begin. But I wanted to talk about something first before we really dig into the meat and potatoes next week with the season starting a week from Saturday. So as of August 15th, ESPN released their newest version of the Power Index. And of course, we see all these, we'll say preseason rankings, preseason awards before a season even begins. And this is actually something that drives me crazy. One thing I will say about the college football playoff that they do right is they don't start their ranking process till I think it's the first or second week in November, which is the way it should be, right? Is let's get a sample size of everything first before we start throwing out awards and rankings and who's the All-American Big 12 Player of the Year, who's going to be number one to start the season. None of that matters till we actually get some games under our belt and see what's going on. Another thing too, I can tell you this, whoever's in the top 10, I bet 3 to 5 of those teams won't be in the top 10 at the end of the season, even if they may not even make, the college football playoffs. So we know how we feel about preseason polls, but I do think there are some things that are important we can take away from preseason polls. And more importantly, I think that's bulletin board material. And especially having Rich Rod come back to West Virginia, his first season being back, even though he's been here before, it is a new era of college athletics. It is a different time in which you got to motivate the troops. You got to motivate the soldiers. Some people are motivated by money. Some people are motivated getting to the next level. But regardless, I think we all get motivated by being counted out. So the ESPN Power Index, what I brought up first here is West Virginia enters this season 56th in all of college football, number 12th in the Big 12. And maybe that's fair. Maybe, there hasn't been a lot of talk about this team. I think even us Mountaineer fans are curious about what we're going to get. A lot of turnover on the roster. There are some familiar faces that we're excited to have back, but what are we getting with Rich Rod round 2? So I do understand from the mainstream media point of, I'll say, maybe not necessarily counting us out, but not a lot of chatter. Well, waiting to see the product we put out there. But I will say this is the one thing that I heard over the weekend that really got me going, that really got me fired up from being a Mountaineer fan is I was on a long road trip this weekend and I turned on Sirius XM. It was Mad Dog Radio, and it was perfect timing. They brought on a guy to discuss the Big 12 preview. I'm like, oh, perfect time to be in the road trip. Let's see what they have to say. And in the car, hear all about Arizona State, hear all about Kansas State, Iowa State, going down the list, etc. These teams will be good. These teams should be back. Wow, look at this. And I'm waiting. Like, oh, what are they going to say about West Virginia, right? I mean, you at least got to say Rich Rod's coming back. You have Pat McAfee in the media who's on ESPN. You got to give West Virginia a little bit of credit, right? And nothing, not a word. West Virginia wasn't even brought up, and frustrated me, right? It's one thing if they say you're going to be good. It's another thing if they say you're going to be bad. It's a whole nother thing when you're forgotten about. And I think that's what upsets us the most is West Virginia fans is we are a historic team, right? I think we're around 15 all times in Division I wins in college football history. I understand, right? Is sports teams are like stocks, right? You're only worth what your future holds and what you're going to bring in, right? At one time, the Ivy League and college athletics was the dominant league in football. Obviously, that's not the case anymore, right? But we understand there are going to be some good seasons, there are going to be some bad seasons. But the fact that West Virginia, an all-around historic team, that's you can't tell the story of college football without talking about the West Virginia Mountaineers. We don't even get brought up in a Big 12 preview. When talking about the history of college football, when do they get to us? And that's what us fans, us even in West Virginia media, the coaching staff, the school gets so frustrated about. Of course, once in a while, we're not going to be great, and and that happens. We dealt with last year. We are aware of last year. But this is the bulletin board I'm talking about, material that Rich Rodriguez has going into this season. This is that material that whether you're influenced by money, prestige, getting to that next level, something that everyone can agree on. If you want to make the most money, if you want to be the most famous team out there, the athlete, whatever that you want out of all of this, you gotta rise to the top. And nothing gets people going more than knowing that they can be that underdog to get us to the top. So good. Do you know what? Should we be respected more? Absolutely. Should West Virginia be brought up more than we are? Yeah, of course. But do you know what? Fine. Put us in that corner. Especially now with Rich Rod being back as our head coach, a guy that we know can motivate people and get people going. Forget about West Virginia. I dare you, because we're coming back. I'm excited for this year. Yeah, there may be some learning curves. We've talked about it. There may be some more details that we got to go over. We'll take the punches, but this is a culture and a university that we're proud to be a part of. And I'm really looking forward to what's ahead in this season, because here's what I know about West Virginia. Here's what I know. I can't promise you the wins and losses at the end of the season. I'll do my best to predict them, and we'll get to that next week. We got a whole week ahead to discuss that stuff. But when West Virginia is in a corner, you best believe we are fighting our way out of it. You can't tell me Rich Rod hasn't been yelling at these guys in the locker room, getting them going. That, when all these preseason awards are brought up ahead of time, and not a lot of West Virginians are being named for these preseason awards, but all of a sudden when you get to the NFL, who's this Zach Frazier? Who's this Beanie Bishop? Where did Geno Smith come from? Oh my gosh, I'm so surprised. Yeah, they came from West Virginia, and everyone counted them out. And so no matter where they are in their career, yeah, shocker, they bounce back and then they dominate. And that's what this season's going to be about. So that's my message here. Yeah, maybe a little bit of emotional episode. Maybe we'll switch more to kind of the journalism and the side of it next week as we prepare to take on the season and Robert Morris coming to Morgantown. But I thought this was very important to say, yeah, I wish we had more respect in our name. I know all of us West Virginia fans do, and we deserve it. But at the same time, thanks for counting us out. We're looking forward to proving what we're capable of. This head coaching staff, our players on the field, and not only at West Virginia, beyond in the next level, we'll show you what West Virginia is made of. So it's going to be a great season, folks. West Virginia feels back. Let's get that representation back, and we'll see you all again real soon. Let's go Mountaineers.